Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So this is the topic. The goddess Lakshmi could not enter the Rasa Dance. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrindam, Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Om Ajnanatimirandasya, Jnananjana Shalakaya, Chakshmuram Vilitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Chaitanya Charitamritam ki jai, Krishna Das Kavidas Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna. So Chaitanya Charitamritam Madhyalila, 9th chapter, sloka number 108 to 140. So let us try to cover all these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. As you know, during the Chaturmasya, Lord Chaitanya stayed in Srirangam, and last class we discussed the illiterate Brahmana, how he got enlightened by the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now later, this is the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkat Bhatt. So we'll start our session. So in the last class, we stopped at that Brahmana became great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he had the Supreme Lord Krishna in the core of his heart, and he was feeling very ecstatic that the Supreme Lord Krishna became chariot driver of Arjuna and executing his order. This is really amazing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really touched with this, with his love for Krishna. And for 4 continuous months, this Brahmana did not give up the Lord's company. He stayed with the Lord only. Wherever he goes, he simply stayed there. And he served Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the maximum possible. And then the Brahmana became very pure-hearted. In this way, anybody has got pure love for Krishna, Krishna will benedict everything. So we will start from not 9 onwards. Jai Mata Bhatta Gruhe Rahe Gaurachandra Nirantara Bhatta Sange Krishna Katananda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at the house of Venkat Bhatta and constantly talked with him about Lord Krishna. In this way, he was very happy. 109. Sri Vaishnava Bhatta Seve Lakshmi Narayana Tandra Bhakti Deki Prabhura Tushta Lamana. Being a Vaishnava in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, Venkat Bhatta worshipped the deities of Lakshmi and Narayana. Seeing his pure devotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. 110. Nirantara Tandra Sange Haila Sakhya Bhava Hasya Parihashe Dunhe Sakyera Swabhava. Constantly associating with each other, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkat Bhatta gradually developed a friendly relationship. Indeed, sometimes they laughed and joked together. As you know, Krishna and Arjuna, they were also together, and they were shouting together. They are trying to be together, and when Krishna showed his Vishwarupa, and Arjuna got really bewildered, and he was saying, "Oh Supreme Lord Krishna, I joked with you, I laughed with you, and I walked with you. If I had done any mistakes, kindly excuse me. In the same way, here Venkat Bhatta also, he was very close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They laughed and joked together, and they walked together. They spent a lot of time, especially the 4 months, the Chaturmasya. Now let us see what would happen. Text 111. Prabhu kahe bhatta tomar Lakshmi Thakurani Kanta Vaksha Stita Pativrata Shiromani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the Bhattacharya, your worshipful goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, always remains on the chest of Narayana. She is certainly the most chaste woman in the creation. 112. Amara Thakura Krishna Gopa Gocharaka Sadvihana Kene Chahe Tanhara Sangama. However, my Lord is Lord Sri Krishna, a cowherd boy who is engaged in tending cows. Why is it that Lakshmi, being such a chaste wife, wants to associate with my Lord? So there is a very nice ecstatic relationship. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would like to enlighten Venkat Bhatta that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So in this set of verses, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to prove that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Text 113. Yai lagi shukha bhoga chadi chirakala vrata niyamakari tapa karila apara. Just to associate with Krishna, Lakshmi abandoned all transcendental happiness in Vaikuntha and for a long time accepted vows and regulative principles and performed unlimited austerities. See, Lakshmi Devi, she wants to take association of Krishna, and she went on long austerities, tapas, she accepted because she wanted to have association with the Supreme Lord Krishna, but she could not able to take a Rasa Dance. But how is it possible? This all will be very nicely explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the upcoming verses. Text 114. Kasham bhavo ashyana deva vidamahe Tavangri renu sparsha dhadikaraha Yadvanchaya srir lalana charatapo Vihaya kaman suchiram dhrutavrata. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya attained such an opportunity to be touched by the dust of your lotus feet. Even the goddess of fortune, for this end, performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and observing austerities vows. Indeed, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya got such an opportunity. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-36 was spoken by the wives of the Kaliya serpent. And actually, the wives of Kaliya, they were staunch devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And actually, they were insisting the association of the Lord, but this Kaliya was so fortunate that the Supreme Lord Krishna danced upon the hoods. So when he danced on the hoods of the Kaliya, his lotus feet dust touched, and Kaliya was so fortunate. In this way, the Kaliya Patnis, they were glorifying Kaliya. How fortunate the Kaliya was. Text 115. Bhatta kahe Krishna Narayana eke isvarupa Krishneti adhika leela Vedagdhyadi rupa. Venkat Bhatta then said, Lord Krishna and Lord Narayana are one and the same, but the pastimes of Krishna are more relishable due to their sportive nature. So Venkat Bhatta, he found a little difference actually here, but he was not fully knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He thought only the Narayana is the Supreme Lord. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gradually he enlightens him step by step. Tarasparshe nahiyaya pativrata dharma kautiki Lakshmi chahena Krishnera sangama. Since Krishna and Narayana are the same personality, Lakshmi's association with Krishna does not break her vow of chastity. Rather, it was in great fun that the goddess of fortune wanted to associate with the Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gives a nice purport here. This is the answer to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's question. And from this, we can understand that Venkata Bhatta knew the truth. He told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Narayana is a form of Krishna associated with transcendental opulence. Although Krishna is two-armed and Narayana four-armed, there is no difference in the person. There are they are one and the same. Narayana is beautiful as Krishna, but Krishna's pastimes are more sportive. It is not that the sportive pastimes of Krishna make him different from Narayana. Yeah, this point is to be noted. Lakshmi's desiring to associate with Krishna was perfectly natural. In other words, it is understandable that a chaste woman wants to associate with her husband in all his different dresses. Therefore, one should not criticize Lakshmi for wanting to associate with Krishna. See, normally a wife can say if a person comes in front of her and he can say, you are like my father, she can mention, or in any other person who is affectionate, she can also mention, you are like my brother, he can mention. But husband never be compared with anybody. She cannot say other person, you are like my husband, like that no woman can say, because this is a chastity topic. Text 117. Siddhantatas tva abhede api Sri Krishna Swarupayo Rasenotkrishyate Krishna Rupam Yesha Rasastiti. Venkata continued, according to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Narayana and Krishna. Yet in Krishna, there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently, he surpasses Narayana. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows. This verse quoted by Venkat Bhatta is also found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-59, text 118. Krishna Sange Pativrata Dharma Nahe Nasha Adhika Labha Peye Ara Rasha Vilasa. The goddess of fortune considered that her vow of chastity would not be damaged by her relationship with Krishna. Rather, by associating with Krishna, she could enjoy the benefit of the Rasa Dance. Text 119. Vinodini Lakshmi Rahaya Krishne Abhilasha Yehate ki dosha kene kara parihasha. Venkat Bhatta further explained, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is also an enjoyer of transcendental bliss. Therefore, if she wanted to enjoy herself with Krishna, what fault is there? Why are you joking so about this? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he replies then in text 120, प्रभु कहे दोष नाही यह आमी जाने रसाना pala Lakshmi Sastri iha suni. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I know that there is no fault on the part of the goddess of fortune, but still she could not enter into the rasa dance. We hear this from the revealed scriptures. So Mahaprabhu is saying she wanted to, take part in the rasa dance, but it did not happen. Why is it so? Text 121. Nayam Shriyo Anga Yu Nitanta Rate Prasadaha Swar Yoshitam Nalina Gandharucham Kuto Anyaha Rasostashve Asya Bhujadanda Grita Kanta Labda Shisham Ya Udagad Vraja Sundarinam. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, the gopis were embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other consorts in the spiritual world. Nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma exactly resemble the beauty and fragrance of lotus flowers. And what to speak of worldly women, who may be very, very beautiful according to the material estimation. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-60. So materially, we may have the Miss Universe, the Miss World, or this Asia Pacific or this that. But when compared to the heavenly planets, our earthly planet beauty is much lower and very insignificant. Then if you still go top of the cosmos, there is a Golakunda. There the gopis are the most beautiful, and nobody can surpass their beauty. But how is this? This was not possible for Lakshmi Devi. Also, we can discuss. Text 122. Lakshmi kene na paila ihara ki karana tapakari kaiche Krishna paila shruti gana. But can you tell me why the goddess of fortune Lakshmi could not enter the Rasa dance? The authorities of Vedic knowledge could enter the dance and associate with Krishna. This was the question by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Venkat Bhatta. Oh, Venkat Bhatta, now you tell me why goddess of Lakshmi could not enter the Rasa dance, but at the same time, the authorities of Vedic knowledge, Shruti. So there are different types of gopis, which are mentioned in the Shastras. I also heard from sannyasis and senior Vaishnavas, like there are Shrutichari gopis and Shrutichari gopis, Rishichari gopis, and there are some more categories of gopis. The point here is all the gopis are exalted, and so nobody can surpass their beauty. They are taking part in the Rasa dance. Oh, Venkat Bhatta, now you tell me, what do you think that goddess of fortune could not make an entry? That was the question by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He just wanted to test his depth of knowledge of Shastric, how much he is deep into the Shastras. Text 123. Nibrata marun mano aksha drudayoga yujo hridiyan munaya upasate tad arayo api yayu smaranad striya varagendra bhoga bhuja danda vishaktatiyo vayam apite samadrusho angrisaro jasudha. Great Ganges Great sages conquered the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus, engaging in mystic yoga, they see the super soul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attain that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord, isn't it? Kamsa always thinking of Krishna, Krishna, but he is thinking in a negative way, anti-way. So these mystic yogis also, they do thousands of years, they attain impersonal Brahman. But the same impersonal Brahman is simply attained just by simply thinking Krishna also. The Supreme Lord Krishna, whomever he killed, they all got the liberation. And mystic yogis, they also got the liberation. That's what makes the difference. However, the damsels of Raja, the gopis being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus, the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopis. This point is to be noted. Because these Shrutichari gopis, before they become a gopis, these Upanishads also, they wanted to taste the nectar. Because of that, they want to follow the footsteps of the gopis, and this is the qualification of anybody. If anybody is not following the footsteps of gopis, Gopi Bharta Padakamalayo Dasa Dasa Anudas, if that is not there, nobody can make an entry, nobody can become a pure devotee of the Lord. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 1087:23. Text 124 now. Srutipaya Lakshmi Napaya Iteki Karana Bhatta Kahe Iha Praveshite Nare Moramana. Hearing having been asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why the goddess of fortune could not enter into the Rasa dance, whereas the authorities on the Vedic knowledge could, Venkata replied, I cannot enter into the mysteries of this behavior. Now Venkata was revealing that it was not possible for me because it's a very depth in knowledge. Text 125. Ami jiva shuddha buddhi sahaje astira ishwarera leela koti samudra gambira. Venkata Bhatta then said, I am an ordinary human being. Since my intelligence is very limited and I am easily agitated, my mind cannot enter with the deep ocean of the pastimes of the Lord. For this reason, O my Lord, I cannot able to reveal these things. Text 126. Tumi Sakshat Sai Krishna Jana Nija Karma Yare Janaha Sai Jane Tomara Lila Marma. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Himself. You know the purport of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes. Now, Venkat Bhatta is revealing, why do you ask me? You are Krishna Himself, you know all your activities. Yeah, then Supreme Lord went to, uh, and he is the one who can only excavate so many pastimes happened in Vrindavan. He ordered Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, you go and find out in this certain so in such and such place, Radhakunda is there, and such place Shyamakunda is there. You go and excavate all of them. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself, he excavated, the Brahma Samhita. Oh, like that, Venkat Bhatta is asking, you know everything, better you only reveal. So Srila Prabhupada says here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in his pastimes cannot be understood by blunt material senses. One has to purify the senses by rendering transcendental loving service unto the Lord. When the Lord is pleased and reveals himself, one can understand the transcendental form, name, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 223 and Mundaka Upanishad 323. Yam yevasya vrinute tena labhyas tasyaesha atma vivrinute tanum swam. Anyone who is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead can understand his transcendental name, qualities, and pastimes. प्रभु कहे कृष्णेर एक स्वभाव विलक्षण स्वमाधुर्य सर्वचित्ता करे आकर्षण. The Lord replied, Lord Krishna has a special characteristic. He attracts everyone's heart by the mellow of his personal conjugal love. Vrajaloker bhave peya tanhara charana tandre ishwarakari nahi jane vrajajana. By following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of the planet known as Vrajaloka or Goloka Vrindavana, one can attain shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. However, in that planet, the inhabitants, we do not know that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You see the very wonderful. What is the eligibility? What is the qualification? What is the mandatory thing is, if anybody can follow the footsteps of Vrajagopis in the Vrajaloka, and they can make an entry into the Rasa Dance. And in Krishna Loka, it is mentioned that the Vrajavasis are the inhabitants of Goloka. They do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. If they know Krishna is the Supreme Lord, then there is no question of exchanging loving relationship, because Krishna reveals them as a lover, as a parent, or as a co-head boy or friend with this Sakya, Sakya Rasa, Dasya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. All these rasas are very nicely, exchanged and enjoyed by the devotees in Golaka. But they do not know Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Kehatandre putra jnane udakale bhande kehe shaka jnane jini chade tandra khande. There someone may accept him means Krishna, as a son, and sometimes bind him to a grinding mortar, that is Yashoda. Someone else may accept him as an intimate friend and attaining victory over him, playfully mount his shoulders. Like, when they play games, Krishna carry them on his shoulders. And, he accepts his defeat, but he wants to enjoy, just like a small child, he wants to fight with the father, and father voluntarily accepts the defeat, and he carries his son on his back. So father is very happy. Son is also very happy. Similarly, the same exchange is there with the Lord with his devotees. Brajendra Nandana Balitandre Jane Vrajajana Aishwarya Gnani Nahi Kona Sambandha Manana. The inhabitants of Vrajabhumi know Krishna as the son of Maharaj Nanda, the king of Vrajabhumi, and they consider that they can have no relationship with the Lord in the rasa of opulence. Vrajaloker bhave karaye bhajana, say jana paya vrajaya Vrajendra Nandana. One who worships the Lord by following the footsteps of the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi attains him in the transcendental planet of Vraja, where he is known as the son of Maharaj Nanda. So in this way, one has to uh, accept Krishna as Vrajendra Nandan. The inhabitants of Rajabhumi or Gola Kurundavana know Krishna as the son of Maharaj Nanda. They do not accept him as the supreme personality of Godhead as people in general do. Then they cannot exchange that loving relationship. For this reason, they cannot accept that. The Lord is the supreme maintainer of everyone and the chief personality among all personalities. In Vrajabhumi, Krishna is certainly the central point of love, but no one knows him there as the supreme personality of Godhead. Rather, a person may know him as a friend, son, lover, or master. In any case, the center is Krishna. The inhabitants of Vrajabhumi are related to the Lord's servitude, friendship, parental love, and conjugal love. A person engaged in devotional service may accept any one of these transcendental relationships, which are known as mellows. When such a person reaches the perfectional stage, he returns home back to Krishna in his pure spiritual identity. So in this way, if anybody follows, just like, a kind of rasa he has to exchange as a friend, son, lover, or master. Otherwise, they have to stay in Vaikuntha Loka if you are accepting him in a different way. Nayam Shukapo Bhagavam Dehinam Gopika Sutaha Jnaninam Chatma Bhutanam Yatha Bhakti Matam Iha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then quoted, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to those devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators. To those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self. Purport. This verse is also given in Madhya Lila 8.227, is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.21. Shrutigana Gopiganera Anugatahana Rajeshwari Sutabhaje Gopi Bhavalana. This is very, very important. Gopi Bhavalana. It's very wonderful. The authorities in the Vedic literatures are known as the Shrutiganas, worship Lord Krishna in the ecstasy of the gopis and followed their footsteps. These Shrutiganas are Vedic literature, and they constantly glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and they simply follow the footsteps of the gopis, and they can also make an entry into Rasa Dance. This is the secret. Purport. The authorities in the Vedic literature who are known as the Shruti Ganas designed to enter into the Lord Sri Krishna's Rasa Dance. Therefore, they began to worship the Lord in the ecstasy of the gopis. In the beginning, however, they were unsuccessful. When they could not enter the dance simply by thinking of Krishna in the ecstasy of the gopis. They actually accepted bodies like those of the gopis. See, they had a transformation of the bodies. Then they are just like appearing as gopis. Then it was possible for them. They even took birth in the Vrajabhumi just like the gopis, and consequently became engrossed in the ecstasy of the gopis' love. In this way, they were allowed to enter into the Rasa Leela dance of the Lord. Even, Lord Shiva also wanted to make an entry in the Rasa dance, and he was not allowed by the gopis. And he was asking why I am not allowed. Then he said, no, 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 you have to become a gopi, then only you have to make an entry. Oh, is it? Okay. He went back and he did Gaur Tapas also. Then he got a gopi form. And still today also there is one wonderful temple. Gopeshwar Mahadev is there in Vrindavan. And then Lord Shiva can able to make an entry. So in this way, they were allowed to enter into the rasa dance of the Lord, not by our own knowledge, beauty, or penances, etc. So another 3-4 verses I will discuss, then I will close. Bahyantare gopi deha vrajeya be paila sai dehe Krishna sange rasa krida kaila. The personified authorities and the Vedic hymns acquired bodies like those of the gopis and took birth in Brajabhumi. In those bodies, they were allowed to enter into the Lord's Rasa Leela dance. So it is not so easy to become a gopi. So you have to take so much penance and so much service you would have done. Gopi, Gopajati, Krishna Gopi, Presi, Tanhara, Devi, Va Anya Sri Krishna, Nakare, Angekara. Lord Krishna belongs to the cowherd community, and the gopis are the dearmost lovers of Krishna. Although the wives of the denizens of the heavenly planets are most opulent within the material world, neither they are nor any other woman in the material universe can acquire Krishna's association. This is Pakka guaranteed. Not anybody else can make an entry, only the gopis. Lakshmi chahe say dehe Krishnera Sangama, Gopika Anugahana Na Kaila Bhajana. The goddess of fortune Lakshmi wanted to enjoy Krishna and at the same time retain her spiritual body in the form of Lakshmi. So this is a kind of concern for Lakshmi Devi. And she wanted to enjoy, but at the same time she wanted to become a Lakshmi Devi also. However, she did not follow in the footsteps of the gopis in her worship of Krishna. This is the key point. This is the reason that she could not able to make entry into the rasa dance. This verse 136 is very, very important. The goddess of fortune Lakshmi wanted to enjoy Krishna, at the same time retain her spiritual body. But whereas this Vedic literature, the Shruti Shastras, they followed footsteps of gopis and they were in the mood, then it was easy for them. Anya dehe na paya rasa vilasa ateva nayam sloka kahe veda vyasa. Vyasadeva, the supreme authority on Vedic literature, composed the words beginning Nayam Shukapo Bhagavan, because no one can enter into the Rasalila dance in any body other than that of a gopi. So we have here understood by the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that no other body form are not allowed to enter into rasa dance. Only we have to become a gopi form, then it is possible. This verse confirms the words of the Bhagavad Gita 9:25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrun yanti prithuvrataha bhutani yanti bhutyaja yanti madhyajino apimam. Lord Krishna said, those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship the ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. And also there is another reference, Janma karma chame divyam evam vavetti tattvattaha tvekta deham punarjanma neti mameti. So Arjuna, one who knows my transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Like this last para is very important. Only when one regains his original spiritual body can he enter into the spiritual kingdom. As far as the Rasalila pastimes of the Lord are concerned, it is futile for one who is within the material world to attempt to intimate the Lord's dances. So one has to attain a spiritual body like that of a gopi to enter into the pastimes of Rasalila. In the Nayam Shuka words, the devotees are referred to as Bhakti Mat, that is fully engaged in devotional service and devoid of material contamination. One cannot enter into Krishna's Rasalila dance simply by artificially imitating it or artificially thinking oneself a Sakhi and dressing up like one. Just like, Still today also in Vrindavan and many parts of India, there are sahajiyas. And they also make themselves, decorate themselves as Krishna, and some ladies decorate themselves as gopis, and uh, without any concern, they enter into sex, and this is the most abominable thing, and it's the most sinful thing, because they are all material people. They do not have any kind of bhakti. Krishna's Rasa Leela dance is completely spiritual. It has nothing to do with the material contamination. Therefore, no one can enter into this pastime by artificial material means. That is the instruction of the Nayam Sukha provides, and it must be strictly understood. And up to 140 is the portion of this. Lakshmi could not make an entry. Another 2-3 words, kindly bear me another 2 minutes. I can finish. Purve Bhattera Mane Ekachila Abhimana Sri Narayana Hayena Swayam Bhagavan. Before this explanation was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Venkat Bhatta thought that Sri Narayana was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this was his interpretation, and he always thought Lakshmi Narayana, he is the ultimate God. But here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explaining that above Narayana is Krishna. That was his version. 139. Tanhara Bhajana Sarvopari Kakshahaya Sri Vaishnavera Bhajana Yai Swarupari Haya. Thinking in this way, Venkat Bhatta believed that worship of Narayana was the supreme form of worship, superior to all other process of devotional service. For it was followed by the Sri Vaishnava disciples of Ramanujacharya. Yaitandra Garva Prabhu Karite Khandana Parihasa Dware Utaya Ete Kavachana. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had understood this misconception of Venkata Bhattas, and to correct it, the Lord talked so much in a joking way. So in this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enlightened Venkata Bhatta that Narayana is the Supreme Lord, not the Lord, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From Krishna comes all 3 Vishnus, and this Narayana is also one of the form of Krishna. Okay, so thank you very much. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.